What is going on, you guys? Happy Tuesday. Thank you all so much once again for tuning back in, and let's get right into another recap here on this nice Tuesday. So today the Nasdaq was basically a little flip-floppy. You could have made money in two directions, whether you wanted to make money on one of these moves up for TQQQ or whether you wanted to make money on a move down for SQQQ, right? So those are your two options when it comes to trading those ETFs, TQs and SQs, right? You can try to go with the market direction in favor of it or against it. So today I did end up trading both stocks, both sides. That's why I was up $43 on SQs and $17 on TQ. So up just over $60 on the day. Very grateful for that. I was able to make back everything I lost yesterday and a little more, but not quite my goal. So on the day, which is 1%, right? $100. I'm using $10,000 just to remind you guys again, and I hit $60, right? So just over 0.5% on a day. Not horrible, but definitely, like I said, not my goal. So here are all my filled orders on the day. There was 330 of them, and if this is the first time any of you guys have seen that one of these videos, you know that that's actually a pretty light number for myself and my brother. We tend to have quite a bit of filled orders, probably more closer to 600 to 1,000. That's when you know we've been having a pretty busy day trading. So yeah, today I was able to keep it lighter just because I was able to finish and stop at a point I thought I was happy with, right? Because I'm only able to trade up until right around 9:30, and I do have to go to work. So yeah, I'm going to cover kind of what I saw with the market today. And right around here was when it opened up at 6:30 in the morning, right around here you'll notice. And if you guys will notice, obviously just from looking at the charts, we immediately started to get a push down. And just like I told you guys in yesterday's video, when the market opens up, we do tend to get a push in one direction. And right after that, the market does tend to be a little choppy. So I always look out for a quick and sudden change of direction. And yeah, so that's something you guys should definitely be on the lookout for if you're going to trade this. I know the market was selling off aggressively, but because it just opened up, it's only been 10-15 minutes. I would definitely be on the lookout for a potential quick shift, which we ended up getting to here. But I'm going to walk through kind of why you could have seen these plays coming, bigger picture. But the Nasdaq immediately started to fall aggressively, and I was on the lookout for a potential bounce right around here. Why was I on the lookout for a bounce right around here, right? If you look at the 5-day, 5-minute, you'll be able to see different areas that you couldn't, right? Without looking at a bigger picture. And you'll notice that the market started to fall immediately, right, when the market opened up. And you'll see, why did we start getting some type of support here? You'll notice in the past, the market did use this area as a support. And anytime the market is falling, if it has previously bounced somewhere, it can always become a potential support level, right? Just like it was in the past. And that's why I thought we were going to experience some type of chop before we ended up ultimately having a nice play down. So that's what ended up happening. I could show you on the 10-day time frame, right? Basically right around here was when the market opened up, and we did end up starting to get this fall. But it's because we ended up hitting this other support area in the past where we did start to see some type of resistance and chop, right? It didn't really want to fall immediately, but I was on the lookout for that. And as we got a nice candle right around here and started to go. So immediately when we started to form a little support, I was aware of that, but I didn't quite get in because I didn't know what wanted to happen. When I saw the market test this blue EMA line and get rejected, I knew that there was still a chance it could try and find a support when it came around this area again, right? That's the general area I just showed you it bounced. The market has it for. And once it hit this area again, I was open to the idea that it could try and bounce again, right? Because it was approaching this area again. The bottom VWAP and that critical longer area right around here, right? I was telling you about. So this is where we started getting these gaps up, and right around here I was able to capitalize some money on TQs when I saw a strong candle go and it wanted to break above the EMA. I started again to TQQQ and load it off as it approached the middle VWAP. I really wanted to play it safe today and not just get very hopeful with anything. So I was glad I locked it in because the market started to fall. And when I saw it start struggling and wanting to break below this blue EMA line, I decided to want again to SQs now. Because the market I saw overall was still downtrending, right? Trending below this middle VWAP and bottom VWAP here. And on top of that, because it was downtrending, it kept making these lower lows and these lower highs. And I was on the lookout for another potential lower high. The market did push up a little nicely, but ultimately it didn't really move off of this blue EMA line enough for me to think it was going to keep riding it up now, right? It did briefly kind of ride it up a bit, but then it fell below it hard and never really picked back above it. So that was kind of my sign that this thing wanted to really struggle and it didn't really want to pick up. So I decided to get into SQs and averaged up, and obviously I didn't take part in this whole play, just knowing myself, right? I do tend to sell early. And yeah, those were the biggest moves I had on the day. Regardless, after that, like you'll see, I finished my last trade at 9:10 in the morning, and that was right around this area right here. So I already had made most of my money with this fall, and with TQs going up. Basically, I tried taking some trades here and there, but didn't really capitalize on anything because I already had these big moves. I was able to basically just be really happy on, right? And I wanted to manage my risk. I knew when the market was going to come up here, I could find some form of chop. I didn't know whether we were going to continue to push above this and actually gap up, or whether we were going to find some resistance and start falling. I thought we were going to find basically some chop. So unfortunately, I didn't get to take part in this basically nice and long ride down for NQ, right? For SQQQ, you could have ridden this up. Obviously, it acts in direct inverse, so I didn't get to take part in any of this, but I hope a lot of you were able to. And of course, the Nasdaq did end up finding a low here at 10634.25, and ultimately ended up just bouncing from there. So regarding that, if you look at the pattern, the Nasdaq, anytime it just approached the bottom VWAP, tended to be a little more oversold, right? Anytime the Nasdaq has recently been touching the bottom VWAP, it tends to follow with a nice little gap up. So once the market sold off pretty decently today, right, all the way down here, I ended up finding a support, sold off even harder. This was enough of a point where the market, I feel like, had been oversold enough and approached the bottom VWAP. And just like in the past, it wanted to kind of try and make a little correction and recovery, right? So this is a great important lesson of why you should never get too greedy with anything, thinking the market has to continue selling off. If you could have capitalized on this SU's play, you could have locked in the majority here. And if you saw it really wanted to keep climbing, you could have just sold the quarter, but knowing you locked in the majority. And a lot of people may not have played it that way, and if you get very hopeful, you would have held for a huge play down, but we never got that on the day. We never got a big play in one direction, so that's why it's important to be able to know how to switch directions on the day if you want, and capitalize on a change of direction, right? Because there are going to be plenty of those throughout your trading career where it's not just so one-sided every day, and yeah, it can be very beneficial to get into both TQs and SQs those days, where the margin may not be as great for only one of the ETFs, right? So that's what I want to leave you guys on. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in for the recap. The main thing I just wanted to remind you guys is how important it is to look at the bigger picture. That's where I saw that the market did want to keep selling off, but I was able to identify potential areas like right around here where it could find some type of resistance, right? And not fall as aggressively. So those are the areas I'd probably be looking to lock it in. Where it just makes sense, right? Where things could get a little riskier. So thank you guys so much for tuning back in once again, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Take care.